was a little surprised when the seller accepted my offer of $55 for this motorized Lionel F-3 unit. It is cosmetically pretty good. There are a few nicks and scratches here and there, and the seller did mention that it only ran in forward. It's missing one of the horns on the roof, and the thing that struck me the most after taking it out of the box was the scruffiness of the frame. If you look, you can see how the pilot wheels and the frame that are painted silver have quite a few nicks. And the coupler could also use some freshening up, I think. I'm not quite sure what to do about the red paint and the shell itself. For now, I think I'm going to just leave that alone and concentrate on this frame. I also wanted to explore the seller's claim that this only ran in forward. And imagine my surprise when I put it on the track and it only runs in reverse. The reversing unit was doing nothing. This train, no matter how it was placed on the track, would only run backwards. So I think there might be a little bit of a mechanical fixing involved with this guy too. The shell is attached to the frame with 2 clips in the back and only 1 screw up front, so it comes apart pretty easily. Once apart, I can see one obvious problem. This reversing unit is just laying there loosely in the bottom of the frame when it should be properly grounded by being connected to the frame itself. There is 1 screw towards the back that holds it tightly against the frame and provides a ground. And when they're not connected, well, I guess the train just runs however it wants until the E unit would be activated by moving around and maybe randomly connecting with something that could ground it and change its direction. So I think I solved why it wasn't running smoothly. But in order to tighten this screw, I will need to take off that motor. At this point, I know that I'm going to be repainting the frame and the front pilot wheel, the part that's in the front of the train by the coupler. I will be sanding those and repainting the silver. And the front pilot wheels are simply held in place by that little C-clip. That comes apart pretty easily, but it cannot be removed from the frame until I disconnect that white wire. I guess that is the power pickup for those rollers in the front. I will have to unsolder that, and then I can get it all apart. The pickups themselves are just held by 1 screw, and this is actually such a very simple train. It's really a neat thing to work on because it's a bit of a learning experience too. You don't have to mess with electronic boards or multiple motors. I really don't understand why these are so expensive. There's just one more little C-clip that holds that front coupler in place. I can remove that easily, and then I'll be able to repaint both the black coupler and the silver pilot wheels. The rear motor, well, the only motor, is held in place with just 1 screw. And then I should be able to work on the frame, give that a little bit of a light sanding, and get that ready to be repainted in a fresh, unnicked, very nice coat of silver paint. There is still 1 wire to remove that's keeping the motor attached in a way to the frame, and it's the red wire that goes from the motor to the front light bulb that's behind the headlight on the F-3. And that's also held in place with just a little drop of solder. And it's hard to get to, but eventually I can remove the wire from that little disc, and now the frame is ready to be worked on. Next time, I think I would probably use a pair of pliers to hold that little round disc when I'm trying to unsolder that connection. It got a little hot. I think this cast frame is where the majority of this toy train's weight comes from. It's a pretty heavy piece. I took it to the sink and I gave it quite a bit of wet sanding to blend in the nicks and the chipped paint where I could, masked off the areas that were not easily removed, and now it's ready for a fresh coat of silver paint, and I'm just going to use a rattle can, a spray can of Rust-Oleum silver paint. I'm very happy with the results from my spray can. To my eye, I could not tell the difference between this and a factory piece, and I'm not trying to fool anyone. I'm not going to resell this as like a mint condition original. It's just for me, so I'm not going to fool anyone, but I have made it look a whole lot better. The frame is the same case really. I'm not sure why that area was worn off on the original frame, but I left it that way. I figured maybe it has to do with the grounding connection, and I just wanted to leave that be. You won't even see that once the motorized rear wheels are reattached. No chips, no nicks, just clean, clear silver paint. I didn't really feel the need to show it or even film it, but I repainted both of the couplers in a nice glossy black before they were reassembled with the touched up repainted silver pieces. Just like you may expect, the reassembly is pretty much just the reverse of the disassembly. I put the pieces back together. I made sure that I set all the pieces, all those little small clips and springs, in a separate little box, and just a little bit of resoldering those connections to the pickups on the front wheels and the light in the nose. Then this is pretty near the end, or at least for the frame restoration. The shell will come later. That's still a big question mark for me at this point. This is what my Santa Fe locomotive would have looked like when it was brand new. Mine will never be this nice again, but I can do a few things to bring it back to life, to return it to some of its former glory. The first step was refreshing the frame with some new silver paint, and the second step was fixing the mechanical parts inside that were not operating correctly. I'm not sure how far I'm going to take the restoration of this shell, but for now, I'm happy with a new looking frame and a properly running locomotive. I'm going to keep working on this F-3. My next step might be to switch that incandescent bulb in the nose to an LED, and I still have to figure out what to do with the shell. So until next time, this has been Bob's Workshop.